Welcome everyone. What I'd like to do in this session is take a closer look at how managers may accomplish their work through creating, leading, and assessing teams. Increasing demands on organizations, institutions of higher education, school districts, and schools have influenced the shift of responsibility for accomplishing work from executives to management teams. Evidence suggests that they may make vital contributions to organizational performance. In fact, teams have become a hot item for managers and leaders in the last decade. However, organizing and leading high-functioning teams requires the right task design as well as clearly defined roles and relationships. Different models that describe how teams may be differentiated, coordinated, and become interdependent may help to create high-performing, self-managing teams. We have a range of options for maximizing individuals' contributions while avoiding problems that may limit their effectiveness. The importance of aligning task and structure in teams is parallel to that in larger organizations. In general, the more complex the task, the more complex the group structure and relationships. Finding the right group structure is dependent on understanding pertinent contextual variables. Assessing situational variables influencing the structure of a small group or team may be posed by answering a series of questions, including, what's its goal? What needs to be done? Who should do what? How should we make decisions? Who's in charge? How do we coordinate efforts? What do individuals care about most? What are special skill and talents of members? What is the relationship between groups? And how will we determine success? The design options for teams that we will briefly discuss include one boss, dual authority, simple hierarchy, circle network, and all-channel network. They are based on research findings on 5-member teams and illustrate how different structural forms respond to a variety of problems. Remember, it may be difficult to extrapolate these ideas to larger, more complex systems. In the one-boss model, information and decisions flow from the top and contributions of group members go through the official leader. It's fast and efficient and works best with simple tasks. More complicated tasks may overload the boss, producing delays, bad decisions, and frustrate subordinates. In the dual authority model, 2 individuals are given authority over specific areas of the group's work, and information and decisions flow through them up to the boss. It works well when tasks are clearly divisible and frees up the boss's time to focus on mission, strategy, and relationships with others at higher levels in the organization. However, new layers slows communication and may erode morale. The simple hierarchy model includes a middle manager, for example, the White House Chief of Staff, who in turn delegates operational details, supervision, and communication with group members. This frees the president to focus on mission and external relations. It's more efficient than the dual manager model, but may cause friction between top and middle managers. In the circle network model, information and decisions flow frequently from one group member to the next. This lateral coordination approach simplifies communication and enables each group member to modify material as it comes around. However, it can bog down when the task becomes complex and requires more reciprocity. The all-channel network model is similar to Helgeson's web of inclusion, as it creates multiple connections among group members. Information flows freely, decision-making is inclusive, and morale tends to be high. However, it's best suited to complex or amorphous tasks and requires group members to have excellent communication skills, enjoy participation, tolerate ambiguity, and are skilled at managing conflict. It's inefficient for simple undertakings. As noted previously, these models were developed to optimize 5-member teams and may not be well suited for larger organizational contexts where work is far more complex. It may be helpful to clarify how the structure of groups vary depending on the task at hand by looking at team sports. In other words, making the strange become familiar. Every sports team requires its own unique pattern of interaction. Consequently, the social architecture of baseball, football, and basketball teams is different. For example, baseball. Team members are interdependent, loosely connected, and interchangeable. Football. Efforts of team members are interdependent, involves an intricate strategy coordinated by the coach, top down, and specialty platoons. Teams have distinctive philosophies, making it difficult to have interchangeable players. For example, a Philadelphia Eagles player would not feel at home with the Dallas Cowboys. Basketball. Efforts of players are highly reciprocal. Each depends on the performance of others. Requires team cohesion. The same players move rapidly from offense to defense. And like a jazz band, it requires spontaneous, mutual adjustment rather than playing prearranged music. It's a harmonized group effort. The individual I defers to the collective we. Successful teams depend on aligning their structure with the nature of their work. Here are some key aspects of defining an appropriate structure. Nature and degree of task integration. Geographic distribution of members. Where is autonomy needed, given the team's goals and objectives? Should structure be conglomerate, mechanistic, or organic? What's the task of management? Fill out the lineup card, prepare the game plan, or influence the flow. Let's take a look at the relationship between team structure and top performance. Having a clear and appropriate team structure is directly related to performance. Research by Katzenbach and Smith highlights 6 distinguishing characteristics of high-performing teams, including 1. Shape the purpose in response to a demand or opportunity. Releasing teams' energy and creativity requires top managers to clarify the team's charter, rationale, and challenge while allowing them the flexibility to work out goals and plans of operation, then get out of the way. Specific measurable goals. Purpose creates an overall mission, but successful teams may recast it into specific measurable goals and use them to guide work. Manageable size. Successful teams use the smallest size to get the job done. Remember, larger numbers increase structural and interpersonal complexity. The right mix of expertise. Successful teams include specialists and experts to solve problems, make decisions, and have the interpersonal skills to avoid debilitating personal squabbles. Common commitment. Effective teams explore who is best suited for different tasks, define roles, and how each relates to the team, thus creating a social contract that binds people to accomplishing their collective work. Collective accountability. Successful teams lay out who does what, then hold themselves individually and collectively accountable. Self-managing teams have been described by Wellens as having the following characteristics. First, they manage themselves. They plan, organize, control, staff, and monitor. They assign jobs to members. They include who works on what, where, and when. They plan and schedule work. They control start and end times, the pace of work, and goal setting. They make production-related decisions. They take responsibility for inventory, quality control, and work stoppage. They take action to remedy problems. They address quality issues, customer service needs, and member discipline and rewards. Evidence suggests that self-directed teams produce better results and have higher morale than traditional top-down control. The Saturn case provides insight into how self-directed teams get started, operate, and avoid reverting back to traditional command and control structures. Here's what made them successful: a concern for quality, consumer satisfaction, and customer loyalty. Employees were granted authority. Assembly was done by teams, and the group held themselves accountable. Let's take a look at teams from a frame perspective and discuss key challenges for each. The structural frame. Interdependent workers focus on a common task. Key challenges include developing clear goals and strategies, as well as building workable structures of roles and relationships. The human resource frame. Diverse individuals try to build satisfying relationships with one another and the group. Key challenges include using individual resources well, responding to individual needs, and building ownership and commitment. The political frame. Individuals are viewed as playing together to win in a competitive environment. Key challenges include managing conflict well, distributing power and resources effectively, and scouting or acquiring competitive intelligence. In the symbolic frame, teams are viewed as pilgrims on a shared journey. Key challenges include developing a compelling vision, a shared culture including values, symbols, and rituals, and having a sense of soul, spirit, or magic. For ongoing teams, the following assessment provides a way for you to use the frames to assess how well they're doing and which areas might need work. Let's look at the directions for using this instrument. On the next slide, you can see the frames assessment instrument. After you compute the results from the individual surveys, convene the group and appoint a reporter. Then ask the following questions. What do the results mean? What do we want to do about them? What did we learn? And what will we do as a result? In sum, every group evolves a structure, but not always one that fits the task and circumstances. Hierarchical top-down structures tend to work for simple, stable tasks. However, when the task or environment is more complex, the team structure needs to adapt. The use of sports images may help clarify the relationship between a team's work and structure and provide a metaphor for selecting from among structural options. It's important to note that you should try to vary the structure in response to changes rather than simply maintaining the same team structure. It may become outmoded. Also remember that few groups have flawless members. However, the right structure can make optimal use of their knowledge and skills while mitigating their faults. I hope this brief overview of teams was helpful.